The way things worked out to get me to where I am right now is unbelievable. I'm incredibly lucky to be alive. When I was almost 8 years old, we found out that I had a brainstem tumor.
This documentary was really, really great. I think it's often tricky with, topics like religion or cult to be handled with grace and with care, and not just have it sort of be a subject for Western mainstream, often atheist audiences to ogle at or make fun of. This was not that case. This was handled with such care and nuance and poignancy. The interviews with the girl, you could, hearing her beliefs and her system and the way she was brought up and what it's like for her, this is her real life. It was handled with such care. And I immensely appreciated that. And I think kudos to the filmmakers all around.
Indestructible goes, it speaks on the Mormon church and the polygamists in this one section of the Mormon church. And it takes it from an inside view of a young woman who grew up that way, and it handled it with such care and showing, what she believed, what she believes now, and how she's, she no longer believes in God, and seeing how that happened while still holding respect to the religion as well. So I think it does a good job of balancing out, the religious aspect of it, and then why she, I don't want to say lost her religion, but I think that's the best way for me to phrase it. And it handled it with such care to both the religion and this individual as well. And I think it was really thoughtful. I think it was really informative as well. And I think it wrapped everything up in a real sensitive way that really lets the audience in on what this group thinks, how it can be harmful, the few good parts about community about it. But having it be from this first person point of view is so poignant and incredibly useful. And overall, this was a very, very well done piece.
This was very informative. As someone who grew up in the real Mormon church, the normal one, we were always told, especially when I went to BYU, to stay away from the polygamists, that they were offshoots and that they were actually all going to hell. So it was interesting learning from their inside what was going on and why they believed the way they do. This girl went through a lot. Do you find it sad that she seems to have given up her belief in God, even if she doesn't believe in the order that she was brought up in, the offshoot that she was brought up in? Because while I'm not exactly active in church, I still believe, and I don't think anything could ever get rid of that. It amazes me that someone who's been through as much as she does and does seem to not see God behind it. It just is a fact that amazes me about people like her. I get getting away from polygamous sex. Like I said, I was told to stay away from them at BYU, so I do understand that, but she seems like a remarkable woman. And it's amazing that her story was told, because she's overcome a lot, and she has a strong support from her family for what she wants to do. So thank you for telling the story so we can see inside what a polygamous sect looks like.
This piece was as inspiring as it was heart-wrenching. I think we're always just fascinated with that whole world, the Mormon world, and the different offshoots and sects that come with it. This one was no exception. The piece was really put together really well. Definitely kind of just let us in a way that a lot of other pieces like this don't do. It was just really really sort of visceral. Like we were in there with her. It really made me feel for her plight, and overall, just really well done. And of course, wish them all the best. Great work on this one.
Indestructible was a really interesting documentary. It was riveting and engaging right from the start in terms of hearing about her health experiences and the condition and what that meant for her growing up and how it had a positive impact in shaping the way that she sees the world. I love that we get the documentary from her speaking directly to the camera. It really felt like talking to someone and hearing their story in a one-on-one kind of way, and then getting to hear the family's reflection of having her as part of the family with her condition was really touching and really sweet. And I think it was a really interesting documentary that explored not only health concerns but also the impact of organized religion in health and in someone's life, and I think it did that in a really thoughtful and interesting way.
I found Indestructible to be incredibly heartfelt. Um, just listening to her story and just the harrowing pain that went through with it. It's heartbreaking, especially seeing how it affected the rest of the family. Um, and it really, these kind of conditions are always terrifying because it shakes up everyone's reality, and the one light that was at the end of this tunnel is that not only has she survived, but she's thriving. Unfortunately, uh, it could have easily gone the other way, and I'm very thankful and I'm very happy that she was able to pull through, and I'm very glad that the family still has her in their life, and I wish them all the best.
Indestructible. I thought this was really, really interesting to learn about because you kind of got two very, very different, education is not quite the right word, but information sources, or two topics that are very, very, very different. So you have the first one, which is all about this tumor and learning about the dangers and the seriousness of these kind of brain conditions and how they really don't get talked about very often, and the seriousness of them doesn't get brought up very often unless you've been impacted by it. And then the other side of that is you learn all about how she was raised in this kind of I don't want to say ostracized because it's not ostracized, in this, excluded society and in this kind of excluded community that lives outside of normal societal rules, and learning all about that and how they intersected and how her diagnosis kind of interacted and I won't say informed, but definitely had an impact on how she was living her life and how her family was living their life in this kind of in this community. And so you have two very, very different things being brought up and addressed, but I think that's kind of the beauty of it, because people aren't just one thing. Even if you have this huge major component of who you are and what you've been through in life with like this brain tumor and what it's meant to you and your family and all of the different surgeries and things that you've gone through and struggled through, that's not all your story. That's not who you are completely. What we go through, you can pick one thing, but that's not who we are as a person. It's all of these different life experiences together. And so I really liked that you did get both aspects of it, not only because it was informative, but also because it really did show that even if you have this huge kind of domineering thing going on, that's not all you have going on. That's not all of your life experience. That's not all of who you are as a person. And so it really did a good job of showing that aspect of it and showing that you can have all of these different things, because that's life and that's humanity and that's surviving and thriving and living. And so I really appreciated that.